you've written your manuscript and, like me, you're wondering how to get traditionally published. Well, in this video, I'm going to share what I've found and hopefully you find it useful. If you want to support the channel, just for $1.99 a month, you can join my YouTube membership, cancel at any time. You get custom emojis, member badges, and I prioritize all your comments. Anyway, let's dive in. There are basically two main routes to get your book traditionally published. The first one is the literary agent or just agent route, and the second is going direct to the publishers. So let's cover both of those separately. So the first route through a literary agent or an agent, basically I'm not even here yet, but essentially you need to have a manuscript finished, obviously, and polished. It doesn't have to be like really polished, but it has to be decent enough that it's appropriate for an agent to do something with it, right? Okay, so that's my understanding of it. It's got to be decent, because at some point the publisher or even the agent, they may assist you with some fine-tuning or editing. But basically I wouldn't like heavily edit the book, because when you eventually do get a trad deal, the publisher will have their own editing methodology, right? So editing it yourself as best you can is probably the way I'm going to go. So I'm not going to hire editors because the publishing house is going to have their own editing process. Anyway, the point is that the agent will you'll finish your manuscript, polish your manuscript as best you can, and then write a query letter, and these will be like specific. So these are custom letters to each agent. So this is what I'm planning to do anyway. So don't do like dear sir or madam. It's going to be addressed to a specific person, unless the person it works for a company, and then the company says write to this email address. That's different. But generally, from what I've seen, it's more like query a specific person. So I will be addressing my letters, emails, it'll be addressed to a specific Mr. or Miss or Mrs., whatever it is. So compelling query letter. I'll be researching agents, query agents, to see who are in my genre. So mine will be like probably a thriller, some kind of a techno thing. I don't know. It's called The Hacker at the moment, but we'll see. Anyway, if I get signed with an agent, then the agent will take me on, and then they'll pitch my book to their contacts, the publishers they have in their in their list. They'll reach out to them, and if a publisher accepts, then the agent's going to help me negotiate a deal. Now, the great thing about this is agents usually have access to like the big five, which is like the holy grail, if you like, or the upper echelons of traditional publishing or general publishing, really. So they've got access to the big five, like Penguin Random House, HarperCollins, Simon & Schuster, Macmillan, Hachette, so these are the big five at the moment, from what I understand. So the agent will negotiate hopefully better terms for me and for them, right? They handle the contracts. Obviously, I am going to need to review the contracts myself as well, but the agents are going to have some inputs on that, right? So the agents, they already have industry contacts, connections. They've been in it for a while. They've got insights. So yeah, and obviously, all this is not going to be free, right? There's going to be I'm going to have to pay. They're going to take a cut of whatever I get, right? Which is fair enough. Now, this whole process is going to be a long process. It's going to take many months, probably longer, right? To find an agent and to query many agents. And trad publishing, as many know, it's very competitive. So agents get queried like so many times a week, so I'm not even sure if I can get in there with an agent, but I'm going to try, right? So that's the agent route, and like I say, if and when one of the agents accepts me, then it'll be up to them to pitch to publishers, and if a publisher accepts, the agent negotiates deals. There'll be some back and forth and so on, and then the process of hopefully signing the contract and then going into the edits and fine-tuning and stuff, right? So yeah, that is the first route, the agent route. Right, so the second route is the direct to publisher route, so unagented, so no agents on this one. Now, the drawback is that obviously some larger publishers don't accept unsolicited manuscripts, so I'll have to be okay with that, right? So smaller press, publishing houses may be more flexible, which is why they'll accept some of them, not all of them. But some of them will accept submissions without an agent. So I'm gonna have to research which which publishers don't require agents, so they accept unsolicited manuscripts, and then I'll have to follow their guidelines. Usually they got guidelines. It's got to be this and this and this. This is what we're looking for. Maybe they expect a sample chapter or synopsis with a cover letter, which is essentially like a query letter, but obviously tailored to the publishing house that I'm querying to, or I'm submitting directly to. So I'll be submitting the manuscript or sample chapters with a synopsis and sample cover letter, cover email to these publishing houses, and then hopefully wait for a response, and maybe I'll hear back, maybe I won't. So obviously there's no agents required. As I mentioned, it's probably the smaller publishing houses that'll accept this. They're more flexible, which is great, because they'll work with you or work with me, and they'll probably be quicker to respond as well. Again, the publishing houses will have their own process, right? They've got the editing thing, they've got the cover design and distribution all sorted out in-house. So again, I won't be editing heavily the manuscript, so I'm going to edit my manuscript as I mentioned, but it's not going to be heavily edited, even for the publishing houses that accept unsolicited manuscripts, right? Now obviously there may be some drawbacks to this, so because they're smaller companies, there may not be any advance. Sometimes there's an advance. There's probably less support, I would imagine, the resources just generally, right? It's like a massive company versus a smaller company. The massive company usually has more resources, which means they can afford to do more things, right? Maybe there's more marketing, maybe there's more budget to do something, and I don't know. I don't know. I'm gonna have to find out as I go along. But there's probably fewer publishing houses than there are agents as well. So that's like a numbers game. So I'm only going to do this after I've done the agents route, basically. So this is route number 2. You can go directly to publishing houses that accept unsolicited manuscripts. Right, so this is what I plan to do. I kind of hinted at it, but I'm essentially going to query with agents first, and there's a reason for this. Let me explain, right? You need to stick around for this. Now, I figure the best shot I have is probably to get with an agent, because number one, there are more agents generally than there are publishers. Just a numbers game, right? I know there are many publishing houses, but there are even more agents, right? That's just how it is. Anyway, so that's what I think. There's more agents than publishers. So hopefully I get the best shot at getting through the door with an agent, and hopefully maybe 1 in a billion chance I get a trad deal with a big publisher. And agents have more connections, so I figure they can open more doors than I would access on my own. So if I were to go directly to publishers, there's only that many that I know of, whereas an agent, hopefully, I imagine, would have connections with more people globally, globally even. So that's number one, agents first before directly applying to publishing houses. Now the reason for this is if I get rejected by agents, I can still pitch to different agents, but probably not the same agent. Although if it's a company, then they may allow you to pitch to a different agent within the same company. So I'm gonna get to tracking at some point in the future. I'll share that process. I'll share my process with you. But basically, the agents will help shape the pitch, the book, the deal, and everything. So as I'm going through that process, I'm gonna learn hopefully quite a lot about dealing with trad houses and stuff. So let's say I don't get anywhere, so I queried 100 agents, and they're all no. If they're polite, they'll say no. If they're more realistic, then I probably won't even hear anything. I'll just it'll just be radio silence, you know. Then if I don't get anything, then I will submit directly to publishers. This way I keep all options open. Now the other reason for this is some agents will probably, so if this was your business, put yourself in the agent's shoes. I'm putting myself in the agent's shoes. I've got a manuscript. I'm like, okay, I like this guy, I like this girl, whatever. The story's solid. Yeah, I can see a market for it. So I go and pitch to the publishers. Now, which publishers am I going to pitch to? I'm hoping that the person, the writer, the author, hasn't pitched to a bunch of publishers already, and they've all rejected it. In which case I'm like, I'm wasting my time because they've already done my half of my job, or whatever part of my job, and they probably haven't really given the story or the query letter or whatever to the publishers a fair shake. So that's another reason why I'm using agents first before going directly to the publishers. And, you know, obviously the agents will have a better chance of querying, and if they don't succeed, then I can try directly. But if I'm trying directly with publishers and the agents are trying after me, that's kind of like, number one, duplicating work, and number two, I probably haven't given myself a very good chance, because the agents usually know how to pitch. That's what they do, they pitch. I'm not, that's not what I do, that's not my business. I don't know how to pitch. You know, I couldn't sell water to a fish. You know what I mean? So anyway, that is what I plan to do. Just a quick update, I'm not even ready to query yet. Right now I'm still self-editing my manuscript. It's very slow going. I'm nearly at 50%, about 50%. I'm progressing, but slow. Anyway, I'm just plugging away. I'm not so naive that even if I land a trad deal, I know I'm going to still have to do some marketing of my own. And as I've said many times, it's never too early to market your own stuff, right? Never too early to build that email list or start getting that audience. So if you want some ideas to market your book, whether you're indie or trad published, or looking to get indie or trad published, click on this video right here. Or check out this video that YouTube thinks is perfect for you. Subscribe to the channel. I'll see you there.